J.P. Morgan became famous more than once. First, she was a successful recording artist whose voice carried her into the upper reaches of the American pop charts during the 1950s. Later, she reinvented herself for television, becoming one of the most recognizable personalities on the Gong Show. Between those two eras was a long career filled with music, variety television, acting, nightclub performances, and appearances alongside some of the biggest names in American entertainment. Her death in August 2026 brought renewed attention to a performer whose career was considerably broader than the outrageous television moments for which many viewers remember her. J.P. Morgan was born Mary Margaret Morgan on December 3, 1931, in Mancos, Colorado, in the southwestern part of the state. Her family later moved to California, where she attended Verdugo Hills High School in the Tujunga area of Los Angeles. She came from a large family, with 5 brothers and 1 sister. Music was already part of her household, and she performed at school assemblies with her brother accompanying her on guitar. The stage name that eventually became famous was not originally intended as a professional invention. While she was in high school and serving as class treasurer, classmates began calling her JP, a playful reference to financier J.P. Morgan. The nickname stayed with her and ultimately became her professional identity. One of the less remembered details about Morgan is just how young she was when performing became part of her life. Historical biographical material cited in later accounts states that she debuted at approximately 3 years old as part of her family's entertainment activities. The Morgan family performed together, giving her an unusual childhood in which show business was not something she discovered later in life. It was already surrounding her. After graduating from high school in 1949, she pursued professional singing and eventually secured an opportunity to work with the Frank Duvall Orchestra. She reportedly spent about 3 years singing with Duvall, an experience that helped prepare her for the recording career that followed. Her rise as a recording artist was remarkably quick. Morgan's early recording of Life is Just a Bowl of Cherries became a chart success, reaching number 26. Her subsequent move to RCA Victor proved decisive. That's All I Want From You became her signature recording and climbed to number 3 on the U.S. chart. Her other successful records included Danger, Heartbreak Ahead, The Longest Walk, If You Don't Want My Love, and Pepper Hot Baby. The achievement becomes even more striking when placed in the context of 1955. She had 5 hit singles during that single year. Morgan's recording career also placed her alongside major artists of the period. She recorded with Perry Como on Chi Chiu Chi and Two Lost Souls, while her work with Eddie Arnold produced Mutual Admiration Society. Her catalog eventually extended across several labels, including Derby, RCA Victor, MGM, and others. She was not simply a singer with one successful record. She maintained a substantial recording career and released albums across several decades. Television arrived while her recording career was still developing. Morgan was a vocalist on Stop the Music during the mid-1950s and became a regular presence on variety programming. She appeared on The Robert Q. Lewis Show and was associated with the show's ensemble. In 1956, she received something that demonstrated how much television confidence she had already earned: her own program, The J.P. Morgan Show. She continued appearing on variety programs and eventually became a familiar guest on programs hosted by major television personalities. The 1950s version of J.P. Morgan was considerably different from the personality later seen by Gong Show audiences. During her early fame, she was presented primarily as a polished popular singer. Contemporary material described her as a personable performer with a girl-next-door image. One particularly revealing account from the period records Morgan objecting when a producer wanted to alter her physical appearance, including her teeth and mouth. Her response was essentially that she preferred being herself rather than being remodeled to imitate someone else. That attitude offers an intriguing explanation for the independence that later became so visible in her television personality. Morgan's acting career developed gradually rather than replacing her music overnight. She appeared in television productions including General Electric Theater, Hennessy, The Joey Bishop Show, The 11th Hour, and My Three Sons. She also appeared in The Odd Couple and the film The All-American Boy. In the 1970s, she performed the theme song, Coming Into My Own, for the NBC sitcom Faye. Later film credits included Loose Shoes, Night Patrol, and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Her personal life was much less public than her professional image. Morgan married Michael Biano in 1954, but the marriage was brief and ended in 1955. She later married composer, pianist, and conductor Artie Kane. Kane worked with Morgan musically, and their marriage lasted from 1960 until their divorce in 1966. Accounts of Kane's life state that the couple adopted his son Paul Stephen Kane in 1963. Their relationship therefore connected Morgan not only romantically but also professionally, since Kane served as her pianist and conductor. The most dramatic transformation in Morgan's public image came during the 1970s. She joined the Gong Show as a regular panelist from 1976 to 1978. The program was deliberately unconventional, featuring bizarre acts, comedians and performers who were often as memorable for their eccentricity as for their talent. Morgan fit the atmosphere perfectly. She developed a flamboyant, humorous television persona that was a sharp contrast with the polished vocalist audiences had known 2 decades earlier. Her most notorious Gong Show moment occurred during a live broadcast when she exposed her breasts during a performance by Jean, the Dancing Machine. NBC subsequently banned her from the program over the incident. The episode became part of the show's enduring mythology and was later included in the Gong Show movie. Although that moment often dominates modern discussions of Morgan, it represented only one episode in a career that had already included major recording success, her own television show, and years of professional singing. Morgan's association with Chuck Barris and the Gong Show also gave her career an unexpected second chapter. She had already been successful in the 1950s, but the 1970s program introduced her to an entirely different generation. She appeared on other game and talk shows and remained recognizable as a television personality. In 1978, she appeared on The Muppet Show, where she performed That Old Black Magic in a memorable duet with Dr. Teeth. She also made numerous appearances on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. One interesting detail that is easy to overlook is how long Morgan's entertainment career actually lasted. Although her most visible period of mainstream recording success was in the 1950s and her Gong Show fame peaked in the 1970s, she continued performing and appearing on screen well beyond those eras. She was still making film and television appearances into the early 1990s. In 2003, she appeared as herself in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, the semi-biographical film about Chuck Barris. In 2004, she also appeared with former Gong Show colleague Jamie Farr during a Hollywood Squares game show week. Her later years were comparatively private. Unlike many entertainers whose final decades remain highly visible through interviews and public appearances, Morgan largely lived away from the center of the entertainment industry. By the time of her death, she was living with her nephew and niece, Duke Morgan Spencer and Peggy Sue Spencer, in Washington state. Her representatives said she died in the Longview/Castle Rock area on August 24, 2026, at age 94. The Associated Press reported that longtime attorney and friend Mark Sendroff said her death was from natural causes. The circumstances surrounding her death have also generated fresh online speculation, but the verified information is considerably simpler than some rumors suggest. Her representatives confirmed the August 24th death and identified natural causes. A publicly available obituary confirms her date of birth and death, while reports state that no more specific medical cause has been released. Therefore, claims circulating beyond the stated natural cause explanation should not be treated as established fact. Her family also indicated that there would be no memorial service, and that they intended to honor her wishes by mourning privately. That distinction matters because Morgan's life has always attracted stories that sometimes overshadowed the documented record. Her Gong Show controversy is real and extensively documented. Her marriages are documented. Her chart success is documented. Her transition from polished 1950s vocalist to outrageous 1970s television personality is documented. But rumors about private matters that lack confirmation should remain rumors rather than being presented as biography. What remains undeniable is the unusual range of Jaye P. Morgan's career. She began as Mary Margaret Morgan, a child performer from a large Colorado family, acquired a nickname in high school that eventually became famous, sang with Frank Duvall's orchestra, reached the upper levels of the American pop charts, recorded with major stars, hosted her own television show, acted in television and films, and then reinvented herself as one of the most recognizable personalities on The Gong Show. Few entertainers successfully crossed so many different eras of American popular culture. Jaye P. Morgan died on August 24, 2026, at 94. Her final chapter was quieter than the outrageous television years that made her a cult favorite, but her recorded legacy tells a much larger story. Before the gongs, jokes, and television controversy, there was a young singer whose voice had already reached millions of listeners. Before the outrageous panelist came the disciplined vocalist who could stand beside Perry Como and Eddie Arnold. And before the celebrity personality came Mary Margaret Morgan, a child performer whose family and school years helped create the stage identity that followed her for the rest of her life.